Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Wednesday, Game 1, Oilers and Canucks ahead of us. All of our guests today, including Gene Principe from Sportsnet, standing by, brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. Just before we get to Gene Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox from the G-Man, not Gene, but the G-Man. Draisaitl is easy to get off his game. Hit him every time he touches the puck. He will take cheap penalties.
Oh, right.
And with that, we bring in he got dressed up for us, the well-dressed Gene Principe. Long time no talk to. Gene, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Hey, Donnie and Rick, I'm doing good. I don't know about the Draisaitl thing from G-Man. I will say one of the things that the Oilers did, and I would kind of lead with Draisaitl and probably follow with Kane. It was amazing how they didn't retaliate because LA was more physical or delivered more hits, and it seemed so easy to want to smack a guy with a stick or the stinky glove in the face. But they really didn't. But you never know who can get under their skin, i.e. Connor Garland or someone like that might make it different.
Yeah, we were talking about from a Vancouver point of view, and you could look at this as a positive thing for the Canucks. The big four defensemen, and I'm not talking about Hughes and Hronik, but physically the big four defensemen, Zadorov, Cole, etc., and how that matchup will do, how those defensemen will do against the likes of McDavid and Draisaitl. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly one of the storylines going into it. LA had what I guess, I don't know if Drew Doughty ever had the point totals that a Quinn Hughes.
We lose Gene? We lost Gene. He's in transit right now.
Transit.
So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe he went under a bridge. We're not sure. So we'll try to get Gene back. And you just love this. You do a segment. Okay. I'll continue on with that conversation. There he is. Where were we, Gene?
Yeah. So I was just saying about Quinn Hughes. I mean, he's obviously maybe the best defenseman in the league or best offensive defenseman or whatever you want to call him. And the Oilers had some experience with Drew Doughty in the previous series. But those guys are big and strong. The Oilers faced Zadorov back when he was with Calgary in the Battle of Alberta. And so they are familiar with him, but he wasn't with Ian Cole at that time. So for sure, there's so many storylines within the storyline of this series, and that's going to be one of them. To this point, the Oilers have virtually kept Leon and Connor apart, excluding power play, of course. And after penalty kills, they'll sometimes put them together because the two of them don't really play on the penalty kill. Leon once in a while will take some face-offs, but not really. They're kind of saved for 5-on-5 and 5-on-4 or 5-on-3. So we wait to see. Those guys are big, strong, mean guys who will certainly be wanting to play like that against the Oilers.
Gene, Adam Henrique he's out. He's not going to play in the opener. He was playing with McDavid and Hyman. Talk about that absence for the Oilers.
Yeah, certainly a big one. Adam's I hope he would take this as a compliment. I just describe him as a really nice player. He kind of can do many things. He can play on your power play, your penalty kill at center, on wing, up the lineup, a little lower down the lineup, and he has not skated once since the end of that series. So it's been a week. I would be a bit surprised if he's on the ice this morning, but we'll wait to see as we head to practice. But I would be even more surprised if he plays, considering he has not played since then. And at this point, it looks like Matthias Janmark, who's kind of I would call him a Swedish Army knife instead of a Swiss Army knife. He plays up and down the lineup and has played on the number one unit. Looks like he will go alongside McDavid and Hyman. And then Connor Brown, who was the big offseason signing, has not played yet in the playoffs, would draw into the lineup.
Gene, very surprised that the Kings gave the Oilers 4 power plays per game in that opening round. Bottom line is they're going to punish you if you take too many penalties. It's just the bottom line. I mean, this power play, 9 for 20, they should have had 11 goals, 2 where the King guy was just coming out. And talk about this power play. Why so successful?
Well, I talked to Evan Bouchard after game, the 1-0 win, and he scored on the power play. And I think what the Oilers have done is, and I love what Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid had said, they got a bunch of talent on the power play. Like, Vancouver's got a great power play too. Every power play in the league has high levels of talent, but you got to work hard. And after that, you also got to work smart. And I think the Oilers have been able to sort of adapt and see what's available. And then what's not available, they respond accordingly. I tell you this, in Game 5, LA had not a stranglehold, but they were in good shape in the second period. And then they started taking some penalties, and you can argue whether they were deserved or not. And it got Edmonton right back into the game, thanks to their power play. So it is certainly a huge weapon. Was historical last season, not the one just finished, but the one before that, with the percentage they were at. This season, they were, I think, 4th overall in the league, top 5, which for them was a bit low compared to what they are accustomed to. But for sure, I'm sure Rick Tocchet, who made a living, causing pain on the other teams, and sometimes that involved taking penalties, is sure to warn his club not to do it. And, on the other side, the Oilers' penalty kill was 12 for 12. LA, again, has talent on their power play. I would say maybe not quite to the level of Vancouver. So the special teams battle was a huge win for Edmonton in round 1. We'll see what happens in round 2.
It's all about stopping the puck for a goaltender, but it's also dealing with pressure in a Canadian market. Is Stuart Skinner the answer in goal for the Oilers?
I would say so. Donnie and Rick, he's kind of like, I'm thinking of Aristotle, like a...
Oh, don't go there. We're not smart enough for that.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm not sure what he does, but I remember reading about him in school, and just this philosopher, this deep thinker, and that's what Stuart is. Married young, a father already. He's 25, and he's kind of mature beyond his years. You'd think he's 35, not 25. So I think so. He learned some lessons along the way. Last year in the playoffs, in the second round, he got pulled a couple of times versus Vegas, and there were, wondering whether Jack Campbell came in and played very admirably in both of those relief appearances. So there was some thought last year that maybe in game 5 or 6 that Stuart wouldn't start, Jack would. That wasn't the case. That was a different coach back then, but this coach has shown nothing but faith in him, and he hasn't, he called it an okay game 2, and he's come back and played well in 3, 4, and 5. So, it would have to be a thumping for him to get pulled from a game, but even if he was for one game, I would be quite certain that he would be the starter the next game. He's their number 1, and I think that unlike Vancouver, that's had to go to 2 and 3, I don't think Edmonton's interested in going to 3, and at this point, not 2, unless really necessary and needed to help the series out.
We just ran a clip of, before I let you go, Gene, we just ran a clip of Connor McDavid. I thought he came across as a bit snippy with the Edmonton reporters. He's probably fine with you. You've been around for a long time. You're everybody's friend. But what's Connor McDavid like to deal with these days? And is there a sense of, a time running out on the Edmonton Oilers with Draisaitl and McDavid?
Well, I would say if you're comparing it to a window, the window's wide open. It's summertime. It's 30 degrees out. You don't have air conditioning, and it's as wide open as it could be. That might be, the Oilers have some negotiations to deal with both those top players. One has 1 year left in Leon, 2 for Connor. So assuming that goes well, the window, I think, is still really open. But as they reach their late 20s into the age of 30, Connor's 27 and Leon's 28 already, I'm certain the window will slowly start to close. So for sure, this is the time. This, I would say, last year into the next couple of years is what we perceive anyways to be the best window for this team. And not just because of those two, but everyone and everything else around them. I think if it might have been the quote, question from my buddy from Sportsnet.ca, Mark Spector. Connor was kind of like, I don't remember that. And he was talking about the 8-1 thumping they took in the opener here.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. You have these grandiose dreams. You're starting the season and then you get beat like that and then got beat again. So it was a tough time for Edmonton. They lost a really good man and coach as a result of that stretch of the season. But Connor's great to deal with, to be honest with you. I find that he's really sort of grown into being face of a franchise, a league, and someone who has so much pressure on him day after day after day. He's wonderful with kids. I think he understands and has grasped the idea that a moment with him can last a lifetime for somebody. They will talk about that photo, that signature, that handshake, that fist pump forever. I remember that time I met Connor McDavid, and so I think he really understands that and is more comfortable with that. But on the ice, for sure, he's kind of at that point where, listen, we got to get something done here. This is a really good, great team. We've shown it, but we got to show it in April, May, and June.
People can't wait for this matchup, Gene. I think you're probably like a lot of us can't believe that the Oilers and Canucks have only met twice in the playoffs. This is the third time. Can't wait, especially with McDavid and Draisaitl in that Oilers lineup. And thanks so much for doing this, my friend. We appreciate it.
Should be a blast. I was going to say call me a cab, but I already got one.
All right.
Hello.
Thanks, care, boys. Thanks, Gene.
Even the cabbie's laughing.
Yes.
Good.
Say hi. Say hi.
Tell him to give you a discount.
They say hello.
Give him a good tip. Give him a good tip. Give him a good tip.
For sure. Yeah. He heard that too. Thanks.
Okay.